Season 9 has pulled into port, bringing a host of quality of life updates for us pirates to engage in. A revamped Fort of Fortune, rebalanced world events, and new pirate legend content awaits. But is it enough to satisfy a 4-month season? Let's dive in and find out. But before we get started, if you enjoy this video, why not subscribe? It really helps out. Now, onto the review. It all starts on the main menu, where this time it looks nearly identical to Season 2's starter screen. Knowing what came after Season 2, it kinda makes me wonder what Season 10 is gonna be. But that's for another video. This season's main draw seems to be the reworked Fort of Fortune. This fort was, admittedly, always the worst event on the Sea of Thieves, being easily the most tedious and time-consuming to take part in. After a few months, you'd be lucky to see a single ship trying to actually do one of these. I've said it once and I'll say it again. 2 skeleton lords are just not fun to fight. And the fort felt endless to complete. It wasn't actually endless, of course, but it felt mentally exhausting. Now the Fort of Fortune feels so much more manageable. The loot pool is nearly exactly the same, but the tedium and frustration of this encounter have been lowered with some hefty balance changes. No more skeleton lords, much less skellies, and much more food around. There's also a new high-value chest, named the Chest of Fortune, which gives you exclusive access to a new cosmetic set. This chest will change world events every season, and doing these world events is the only way to unlock the chest. These are only a few of the changes made, but all in all, the Fort of Fortune has a much better place in the Sea of Thieves now. When a Fort of Fortune spawns, instead of my crew just groaning about it, now we all get excited to take part. I never thought a Fort of Fortune rework would even get me a little excited, but I'm very happy with this change. Bravo, Rare. This patchwork goes for all world events, actually. Each is now balanced per crew size to give the best experience for all players. Instead of taking up to 40 minutes for a solo player to kill an Ashen Lord, now it can take less than 10. I'll be honest, this feels like a standard feature for most games, and these changes are surely made with newer players in mind, the ones who sink to skeleton fort towers and can't tell east from west. I rolled my eyes a little at the idea of the game being even easier, but I think us older players need to have a bit more sympathy for the new guys. When players are constantly worrying about other players on the horizon, the PvE shouldn't be so tedious or mentally draining that you can't even fight off other players. More people actually completing events means more loot on the seas to steal. And it's not like there isn't more challenging content to take part in for players who want that. We're 5 years into the game now. It's par for the course to get balancing updates to take the edge off for new players. If there's anything to take away from this, it's that Season 9 is the season of the solo slooper. I think that's a win-win for everyone. Season 9 also brings 3 new types of pirate legend voyages. A search for cursed treasure, a voyage for Athena kegs, and a voyage for a special new skull. The Skull of Destiny, essentially, is a ritual skull that conveniently houses each of the Flames of Fate, making the Fort of the Damned easier than ever to start. Letting pirate legends have more exclusive access to the activities they want to take part in is a fantastic idea, while not making them overpowered. Becoming a pirate legend shouldn't give you a total leg up over everyone else, but having exclusive opportunities to do the things everyone can do, but faster, is the right way to approach it in my opinion. The Skull of Destiny is quite a creative item for the sandbox, and I'm sure there will be plenty of Fort of the Damned to steal this season. Thank you Rare for making this very rare world event much more viable. The Cursed Stronghold is one of my favorite activities in the game that attracts a lot of PvP, so it's great to see these more often again. Before we talk about the rest of the update, let's talk Season Pass rewards. I normally don't cover these, but that's because they almost always don't impress me. It's about time we got more piratey cosmetics in this game. The Prosperous Privateer set is practically perfect. We finally got some rings and a wonderful red and blue pirate outfit. The Bone Hunter coat is a fantastic addition as well. I truly never thought we would see it in the game. This Season Pass is a great step in the right direction and fulfilled some of my Maelstrom crew's cosmetic dreams. Please Rare, if you're gonna keep adding silly cosmetics, at least balance it out with stuff like this. Aside from everything else, Season 9 is mostly a giant quality of life patch, adding very small things that just make the game a bit faster or better to play. I'll give my quick thoughts as we go through some highlights. Ships scuttled in the Red Sea now have their loot teleported back into the seas. This is a marvelous change, if a few years late. Runners will always run, but this is a great step in the right direction. When you harpoon loot, it teleports right on the deck of your ship, instead of needing to take it off. I was a little pissy about this at first because, yeah, they are making the game easier. But after actually using it, I changed my mind. This is a huge convenience and a massive time saver, and I'm all for it. Let me know in the comments what you think of the harpoon change. I read every comment. The Hunter's Call got some updates, as you can now buy bait for fishing trips, you can sell fish to the Sovereigns, and Merrick has a replacement on Steven Spoils. All great changes, especially for the Sovereigns, as going out of your way to sell at Seapost just felt like wasting time. Next, I hope we can see a Hunter's Call representative on the soon-to-be-finished Port Merrick. Your captain's logbook now gives an accurate depiction of how you spent your voyage. This is a f***ing great change, and this is exactly what I wanted from logbooks. Lastly, the Ghost Fleet World event is now back in the rotation, minus the talking Flameheart in the sky. Now that Flameheart is back in the fold, they replaced his head with the green Ashen Lord Tornado. While the talking head did tend to get annoying, the green Tornado is the worst alternative in my opinion. I wish there was a green storm overhead like Legend of the Veil or something. It just doesn't feel nearly as cinematic as before. There are a handful of other changes in Season 9, but I didn't feel they were as worth mentioning because of how small they are. Ultimately, this is almost how I feel about Season 9 in general. While it hosts some important changes, it's still one of the smallest seasonal updates we've seen in this game, coming after a 4-month season. Season 8 was a behemoth-sized update, so it makes sense we'd get something a bit smaller. But this is almost too small for my tastes. I tend to go easy on Rare, and I think they do a fantastic job creating this game. This update has some very good changes, but there are just too few for me to get extremely excited about. I still have some PvP to grind and keep me busy, but I have a sad feeling that these next 4 months might be a bit slow for Sea of Thieves. I'm always hopeful though, and I'm sure Rare will surprise us. Let's hope Season 10 is one of the best yet. Like the video if you did, it really helps out. And hey, why not subscribe? Whether it's lore, new adventures, or a great heist, I'll always keep you updated on the latest in Sea of Thieves. Thanks for watching, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you on the seas.